Hey good people, welcome back to another week of videos. My name is Jessica, and this week we are talking about red flags. Now, we all know what red flags are, but oftentimes us women, we seem to miss those. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. It's our motherly nature, our caregiving, our understanding spirit that kind of wants to make excuses for people, even though their actions oftentimes speak volumes about who they are as a person, but we tend to overlook them. As women, there's so many things that we will look over. It's like that red alert is going off clear as day in front of our head, but a lot of times we will overlook that because, maybe it's been a while since you've been on a date, or maybe it's just been a while since you've been in a relationship or met anyone that you felt like you shared a true connection with. I understand. And there are some common red flags that I hear amongst other women. The most common is you only hang out at night, or you only hang out on certain days of the week at certain times. Now, granted, I get it if you're dating someone and maybe they got a job at a hospital or something like that, and they kind of got to squeeze you in where they can. Totally understandable. But for those men who that that's not the case, and you're only getting certain days and set times or only at night, that's normally a red flag that there could be something else going on. Or maybe in the beginning, because you really like him, you overlook his flirtatious behavior when you go out and there's other women around. Or maybe you got lucky with the guy who has the controlling behavior. The one that tells you where you can go, where you can't go, what you can wear, what you can't wear. They want to call and make sure that everybody you said that was going to be there is actually there. That guy. And best believe if he's controlling about everything else, he probably wants to put some sort of division in between you, your friends, or you and your family. So make sure that you pay attention to that, because that's a huge red flag that can easily turn into something way worse. Or sometimes it's just the simple things. And honestly, I believe that these probably get looked over way more than anything else because we're looking for something big. Not being consistent is a huge one. I hear so many women, and I've often complained in the past about the same thing. A lot of men are just not consistent. It isn't because they don't know how to be. It isn't because somebody didn't sit them down and teach them how to be consistent. It's because they don't want to. There's always a reason. Or maybe he just doesn't keep his word. He tells you he's going to do something, he's going to be somewhere at a certain time, or he's going to do a specific something for you, but he's a no-show. There's no real explanation for why, not even an apology. And the big one for me, not getting clear answers when you ask him questions. Now, those who saw my video from last week about questions and asking those questions in the beginning, there's definitely men out there who know in the beginning that they don't have any type of good intentions for you, but if they know that you're looking for something serious and they want to keep you around, they'll basically give you the runaround whenever you ask questions. You won't be able to get clear and concise answers, therefore you'll know what their true motives are. So they basically keep you guessing, keep you wondering. I recently saw a meme on Instagram, and it says something to the fact of, did he lie to you, or did you lie to yourself about who he was? And honestly, that couldn't be more accurate. A lot of women lie to themselves about who the man really is. If he showed you with these actions, no matter what he's saying, but if he showed you with his actions who he is, he's been inconsistent, you've had to wonder or to doubt what his motives are, those are normally your clear-cut signs. Now, if you stay because you're thinking, well, it could be this or it could be that, if you try to make more out of him than what he really is showing you, then that's really on you and less about him. No matter what, we were all born with instinct. A woman's intuition, come on now, a woman's intuition is generally spot on. If you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, or you feel uneasy about something, that's not just for no reason. There's something distinctive that's happening within you. You feel it. You know that something's wrong, something's out of place. But a lot of times we fight past that because we're strong and we want to make things work. We want to work it out. But oftentimes we end up just wasting our own time doing that. Intuition will never fail you. I promise you. And if you play your cards right and you actually pay attention in the beginning, you don't get so caught up in his good looks and the way that he dresses and his car and his job and how much money he makes. If you don't let yourself get caught up in those things, and you actually take the time to talk to him and get to know him and converse with him, you'll be able to pick up on those red flags real quick. And when you do, especially if it's early, you just thank your lucky stars that you figured it out early before you had a baby or before you got married to this person and embarked on a long life commitment or an 18-year commitment. And guys, I'm telling you this from my own experience. And I'm not even talking about the past. To this day, You know, I really have to stay observant, and I really have to pay attention to people's actions, and think less about their words and more about their actions. You got to be willing to be patient. If you're really truly looking for somebody good, you're looking for somebody that you can really build something with, you can't give the time of day to anybody who says hello. Recently I had somebody ask me out on a date. He picked the place, the time, the location, everything. Now we made these plans over a weekend, so obviously we made the plans for the following weekend. Well, by Thursday, and I didn't hear from him, so in my mind, there was no longer a date going on. Saturday comes when we were supposed to go on a date. Saturday comes, it goes, I don't talk to him, I don't hear from him. Sunday morning, he messaged me and said something to the fact of, you know, he had a wedding or something to shoot, and, you know, seeing if I wanted to get up later to go and do something else. Now, if I had been desperate, I could have gone on the date or took him up on that offer. And there's a few things he would have been thinking, but I'll get to that. Now, I did not reply to this message, nor did I take him up on his offer for this date for later on that evening. And here's the reason why. A, there was no apology in the message. B, as I read the message, there was nothing sincere about the message. And C, the message didn't include anything to the fact of making plans for a later date. You know, a time where we could both, you know, sit down and look at our schedules and figure out what worked. To me, with him leaving me this last resort of, I couldn't commit or stick to the date that I originally planned or scheduled with you, but I'll fit you in on kind of a last minute basis. And so that brings me back to what I feel like a lot of men in this position would have been thinking. Now, had I been desperate and I went on this date, I can't imagine he would have been thinking anything other than, A, I don't have anything else going on, B, I'm desperate, and C, I'm willing to be an option. In which I would have to disagree with all three of those. And I say desperate. When I say desperate, I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. I think a lot of women overlook red flags out of desperacy. And not just because like, oh man, she's so desperate, she's so thirsty. I don't mean it like that. But for the women who have been single 2 and 3 and 4 years, like myself, or just haven't been dating recently, also like myself, you can feel like, man, you know, nobody's come around in a while, or I haven't really ran into anybody that I have a really good connection with. This may be the last boat sailing, you know, and it makes you want to put what you know you should do to the side, and give that person a chance just because it's somebody, you know, the whole saying of, you know, something's better than nothing. But I tell you what, for me, I don't want a half a man. I don't want half consistency. I don't want to build half a life. I need the whole package. And so for me, there was no reason to respond to the message because what he was selling, I wasn't buying. Now, mind you, this happened on a weekend. The following week on social media, he posts a sonogram showing his unborn child that I guess will be here in a few months. So I totally dodged a bullet by sticking to my guns, not making decisions based off of loneliness or desperacy. As I've talked before in one of my other videos, you have to be comfortable in your singleness. And the reason why you have to do that is so that you can make better decisions. When you're operating on loneliness and desperacy, you end up with the wrong person. And because you picked them, not because it just happened or not because of some crazy coincidence, because you picked them, because you didn't make the right decision to walk away. You didn't know when it was time to make your exit. Lastly, I just kind of want to leave you guys with this. The right man will not have you doubting yourself. The right man will not have you confused about, you know, what he wants to do in terms of you, what his motives are. A real man who's interested in you and really wants to build something true with you isn't going to make you wonder, or you're not going to have to go and solicit 4 or 5 friends and tell them what's been going on and get their opinion. You're not going to have to do that. A real man wants you to know, and he's going to make it clear to you how he feels about you. So just how you are with a man when you're interested, you know, you're willing to cook, or you're willing to be supportive. A man is going to do the same thing. His actions are going to show you what it is that he's trying to do with you and what position he wants you to play in his life. He's never going to leave you wondering. He's never going to leave you wondering about his motives. He's always going to be consistent and let you know what the situation is. You're never going to have to wonder or go and ask anybody else's opinion on where his mind is. So that's it for me today. Until next time, you guys be blessed.